As I found out the tickets weren't going below 30.
Because we're cheapskates and refuse to pay any more than like 20 quid to go to All In.
I would have done the £40 tickets, but on the 3 easy payments.
Fine. This is.
They don't know that.
They're going to realise why the recording is shorter. But yeah, welcome back to Smarks, the Smarks podcast with Zak
and Steven.
There we go. We did an introduction. How'd you like that, Olivia?
Yeah, we've reached the big time now. We're actually doing like the bare minimum.
Yeah, we're getting feedback. We're getting critiques. You don't do an introduction.
In fairness, there is the desire to be petty and be like, stop nitpicking, but that is a pretty big fucking deal.
Oh yeah, I'm the worst for taking criticism. I'm like, it's my podcast. I will do introduction if I want to do introduction.
It was an artistic decision. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly.
They will never know who is who, apart from when someone wins and then we plaster it everywhere.
Yeah, and I think I do a good job in the editing, and we've done a good job of letting people know who we are. I think the real fans, all three of them, know who we are.
2 of them are Gary.
It's okay if you watch us on Spotify and YouTube. I need them views. Right, I'm going to get us started, actually, because I've got a little something. I'm going to make this a thing. I've got my opening notes. Usually apologies of some kind. I think.
Speaking of which, I do need to issue an apology.
You've got an apology. Do you want to start? What's your apology?
I just wanted to get out of the way. A couple of episodes ago, I did, may have even been the last episode, I made a claim that on my Rushmore of silliness was Eugene. I have taken a look back at Eugene. And I'm so profusely sorry. Not only to the...
Don't even say it. Don't even try and label a community for it.
Yeah.
It's not. There is no community. Well,
there is no community. Well, there's no community that WWE tapped into respectfully.
Exactly.
However, having seen Eugene go in for a kiss, I would also like to apologise to women now.
I can't believe you thought it was funny. It was horrible.
I was a child and it was a way to bond with my dad. Look, he's got his coat inside out. He's silly. Oh no, he's actually quite predatory. Fuck.
Yeah, so yeah, the Eugene thing is your apology. My apology is just a mistake I made. I was wrong episode 1 with the action figures. It was Elijah Burke.
Oh, it was?
It was.
Did I guess that?
You got it right. You said Elijah Burke and I said no. I thought it was R-Truth. And the explanation is, when I looked at Elijah Burke, because I didn't know who he was, I'll be very honest. Like, he's one of those deep-cut random people from the 2000s.
The ECW guys.
Yeah. And, but every picture I saw of him, he was wearing, like, pants. Or, like sort of pants or shorts, like, wrestling pants. And the trousers on the figure, I could not find a picture. The closest thing I could to that was R-Truth, who also had the braids and had similar trousers.
The trousers make sense.
But and then I eventually found the figure. I did the smart thing and found the figure and realized online, and it was Elijah Burke. So apologies, that was Elijah Burke. In the rest of my introduction thing, so it's always an apology and then a hot take.
Something to apologise for next time.
My hot take is actually just me being pissed off at the wrestling community. I've seen some very dumb takes, and I'm sure you might be surprised, or you might have also noticed this, but there seems to be this weird rhetoric that Joe Hendry is just a gimmick wrestler and he's not good and not worth the hype at the moment. And I'm like, all the people saying this, and this, I know this is asking a lot, but like, have you actually watched TNA or watched any Joe Hendry? Because he can fucking wrestle. He's a very good wrestler.
He's got a great look. Like, as Scotsmen go, he's pretty tanned. Doesn't help that he's blonde. So he's got the Black Parade Gerard Way thing going on, where it's pale on pale. But 6'3", like, really good in the ring.
I actually was surprised at how in shape he was. I'm like, he's a wrestler. Of course he's in shape. But I'm like, he's pretty stacked. Yeah. Joe is a big guy. But yeah, I saw a few comments and this is across different posts, and just this idea that we're like, oh, I don't understand why this guy's going over. He's not even good. He can't wrestle. And I'm like, he can. What the fuck? Like, what? Who said that?
if he couldn't wrestle, they wouldn't have pumped into the main event of NXT within like 2 months. I know. There's a deal going on with TNA, so
Yeah, but it's basically we want Joe Hendry and anyone good you might pick up that we might maybe want for a legacy run later, like maybe the Hardys and Joe Hendry.
yeah. Or for some weird reason now, not Bradshaw, John Layfield.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that because he's just a stain.
It's John Layfield.
Like, you know,
It's Christian.
Justice for Nick Nemeth, you know, like he should be one of the reasons they're pursuing this deal, but I just have a very horrible feeling that they're not going to give Dolph his flowers. They're never going to give Dolph Ziggler his flowers.
Like bringing him back to WWE to have like a Drew McIntyre-esque run or a Cody run.
Well, you know, just let people... Okay, I get it, because it does, especially with the way things are going now, like, you know, I've already called this, Joe Hendry will be in the Royal Rumble.
Oh, absolutely.
But he'll count as one of the NXT call-ups rather than the TNA crossover, or it might be, because obviously we had Jordan already last year.
Yearly, pretty much.
So at this point, yeah, I don't know. Let's move away from that. I just wanted to have the roundabout. I got one other thing on this list, which is it's quite interesting.
Before you move on, I do want to point out with Joe Hendry, I think a big part of the issue is where NXT films from... It's the same location every week, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You're not going to get this massive reaction every week because that's at Full Sail University. So there's going to be a bit of a die-down reaction. But then you see what
as we do at Hustle.
Yeah. We're not talking about Hustle.
We might. I have a small part, but we'll get on to that.
Do it before I drink so I can be kinder.
No. Yeah. No, that's exactly what we're going to do.
I think when you saw on the pay-per-view, or the PLE, they were hype. They loved Joe Hendry. So once you get him in the big main roster thing of moving from city to city, you're going to have a Kingdom thing where people just join in with the theme song.
Oh yeah, I think it might be, you know, I think he's expecting it. It'll be the biggest pop he ever gets. But on that note, actually, my last thing, I think I already said this to you, but again, this semi-hot take thing, I'm like, is TNA better than AEW right now? Is this the elephant in the room? Is TNA better than AEW? Because AEW's had some moments, but I think I don't know, almost like as a show that seems to be getting like the core elements right in terms of like building up the right people, giving us interesting main events. I think all AEW is doing is nailing main events.
Yeah.
The rest of the card is poor from what I see.
Is it really?
It's just, even All In, it's like, what really were the highlights of All In?
Don't know, I didn't watch. As soon as I found out the tickets weren't going below 30.
Because we're cheapskates and refuse to pay any more than like 20 quid to go to All In.
I would have done the £40 tickets, but on the 3 easy payments thing at this rate.
He's like, trust me, we'll get them for a tenner. They went up, Stephen.
Listen, I'm blaming Joseph. Joseph, I know you don't listen to this. Well,
sold me a lie.
He should do because we're on Apple Podcasts now. Cut that so we can send it to him. He said last year he got his ticket for like 15 quid. I was told they were going for like a tenner or fiver. Maybe it was just because it was the first time.
I could have afforded to go to All In. I just wanted to go for a tenner. Anyway, moving on from that. But yeah, no, like, I will just finish off the point. Yeah, I think AEW has almost worked themselves into a shoot in terms of they keep claiming they're where the best wrestling is, but are they? Or are they just where the best new signings are? And let's be honest, they sign people and then, like...
Don't use them.
What's happening with Mercedes Moné? Like, really?
Well, she's a champion, isn't she?
Is she? Jesus Christ. She is. I did know this. I'm just being a dick. But the truth of the matter is, like, all this hype, but really, at the end of the day, it really just, the hype was, where's she going to go? Once she landed, no one gives a fuck. No one cares.
The biggest thing for me was, she's not going back to WWE. Okay.
Literally, we just wanted our pop. We didn't get our pop, so we moved on. We don't care about her matches. We don't care what feud she's in.
I got my love reaction on Instagram from her accidentally.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, guys, sometimes you get lucky with your typos, and it's funny how saying someone's hair is dire can autocorrect to being fire, and you can become friends with Mercedes Moné for about 5 seconds.
Hilarious.
It's great.
Best botch ever.
I woke up and I was like, Mercedes, my name. What do I do? I was like, oh shit, she's seen that I attacked her. Oh no, it was a typo. Great.
Oh, my typo was liked. So speaking of pops and things like that, obviously I was going to bring it to the hustle thing the other day. There's an interesting tangent here. I will bring it back to our main subject, which is shitting on WWE. So we were at Hustle and we had interesting main event. Tate Mayfairs versus Rain Leverkusen for the Hustle Wrestling Championship. Controversial ending. I would say controversial. I think
surprise ending.
Somewhat surprising. But yeah, we had it then led to a small video package and the introduction. And for me, this is what I want to get into in terms of like my point here is it was very reminiscent for me of watching wrestling as a kid. And someone comes in and you get this big pop and everyone's like, oh my God, you got JR and the King going, oh my God, he's back, it's him. And I'm sat there in front of my TV like, who the fuck is this? And that's what happened at House the other day. Like everyone, it seemed like I couldn't tell if everyone was just hyping because it was a moment or if everyone there just was in on it and we just had no clue who this person was. It was Sid Scala.
Sid Scala, yeah. Named after a club.
NXT UK talent.
Yeah, I mean,
one of controversy from what I understand.
We're not going to talk about the controversy.
We're not going to get into it.
No, we're not. We are not prepared for that, and we're not going to do any damage that shouldn't be done.
I also want to, I want to keep the Hustle wrestling community sweet, so I'm not touching it.
So you're saying I shouldn't wear a particular T-shirt to the next show?
Anyway, we're going to be that guy's community. We don't care.
Yeah, we'll. We love Hustle, but we're not going to arse lick right now. So,
but anyway, my question to you was going to be: do you recall any moments when you were younger when someone that you now have, like, you probably know their entire backstory, but like they maybe was a return that at the time you saw them and you were like, who the fuck is this?
That's a very good question because I can't really recall it. Rey Mysterio was one of them. I saw Rey Mysterio.
You didn't know Rey?
No, I didn't because.
Oh, you
creepy.
You didn't grow up with an N64, did you?
No, I didn't.
Well, neither did I, but
that's why I'm so
grew up
fucking
around people with N64s.
N64 was so much cooler than the PS1. It's not as good, but it's so much cooler.
They had all the wrestling games.
Mayhem, fucking No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah, they were great. That's why I know. That's how I knew who Ray, who Sting, I didn't watch the WCW. WCW was a myth to me. It was like your friend's brother's school. It was like you understood what was going on there, but it was mythical. Like there could have been crazy shit going on.
Crazy shit
on
going
those
on
ends.
For all you knew, it could have been like you remember those Legends of Wrestling games. It could have been a made up Fed like that.
Exactly.
It could have been an E-Fed from like 2010 online.
But like, yeah. So like you said, like for me, I had very small knowledge of like a few WCW guys. But there was a few, and like, yeah, I understand why Rey Mysterio might have been one of them for you. He was on my list of people that I kept seeing. I'm like, this guy looks awesome. I want to see him.
You want to see him perform? Because for me, it was like that. I saw him perform, but I didn't know anything about him. He was on Creepy Uncle Arthur, one of his tapes. I believe it was the SmackDown After Vengeance. I have a very fond memory of that tape. Because going from Vengeance into the Raw, which was great. It was the one where Triple H turns on Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
I didn't know Shawn Michaels either. I didn't know the history. He was 2 years old when I left, 6 years old when he came back, and he was a new man. But I watched a match of him, and I was just immediately enamored. I loved Ray. I thought he was so cool until he did his first ever 619, or as Taz called it, that's the 619 Cole! Michael Cole's just saying, yeah, that's the area code in which he lives.
Yeah, every fucking time.
Every time.
God damn it.
What he didn't do every time was when Ray runs to her, he's da 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 da.
Which I can't believe I haven't noticed until recent clips. I'm like, he used to do that all the time. There's one that is so audible, and it's like he just becomes a circus clown. Like he's just all these cool like acrobatic shit, and then he just turns around and goes da 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 da.
Look, mum, look, I'm so cool.
It's like, okay, Ray. A bit off.
The thing that made it weird was because he invented that move for his move to WWE. It was always the Frankensteiner, when he was, which he did lead into with the 619 before it was the West Coast pop, and then he just got lazier and lazier. So, like, as the career went on.
Older, some would say. Yeah. Do you think a man nearly 50 can do the West Coast pop? Without...
It's Rey Mysterio. He can do anything. He's invincible. As he got older, he just slowly climbs up the top rope. You just think,
he literally descended. It went from West Coast pop, which was, you know, him springboarding onto shoulders, and then that little flip into a pin. Then you had some sort of variations of like Hurricanranas and stuff. Now he just splashes.
And it's still cool. I just love anything he does. I'm not going to make a joke.
I don't know where you're going with that. I can only assume it's awful.
Oh, it's awful. But he was one of those who... Yeah, I think it's incredible that he rose as quickly as he did, because he was never a WWE guy.
No, he's cruiserweight. He's
exactly.
A small guy, you know, basically one of the first small guys that really actually got the attention of Vince.
He's the first guy you could lift with one arm, and that's with him while holding the World Heavyweight Championship.
So mine, I think I actually already have and explained this before, but mine was Ric Flair.
Woo!
Like, I genuinely was just... I remember, it was a Raw episode, wasn't it, that he came back?
When he was... talking about the Consortium?
And what year was that? 2002?
That was the end of 2001.
Oh, okay,
right after the invasion. So do you know the story?
He comes in as like what, the new owner or CEO or some shit. Like,
so Stephanie,
which was even more jarring for me because I'm a kid. So kayfabe is, you know, all over the place for me. Like, I just about know wrestling's fake, and I don't. And even my grasp on what is fake about it is very, very loose. So when this old man is introduced and everybody's losing their goddamn minds, like, he's back, it's Ric Flair, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And I'm like, I've not seen him in any games. I've not seen posters of this man. I mean, he's never been in the sticker books. You know?
Like, if he's not in the sticker book, who is he?
Like, who is this man? But they're acting like he's like Hulk Hogan level, like, big. And I'm like, so confused, because I'm like, who is he? So in my mind, I sort of just accepted that he was like, I think I accepted that he might have been a legend in the 80s, as in like, that one, you know, this man comes back with that hair. And it's really very funny now, because again, I'm watching 2003 again, I'm like, oh, he looks young. Like, compared to now, he looks young. But for me, at like 9 years old, watching Ric Flair 2001, 2, I thought this was like the oldest man I'd ever seen wrestle in my life.
It's Hulk Hogan's big brother, except with the good hairline.
So I'm like, who's this old man? Why does he own the company now over Vince? So again, this is where wrestling works really well as I suppose, a medium and their whole kayfabe, because like, as a kid, being almost ignorant away, you know, this is before the internet era, really. So like, I knew Vince McMahon owned the company. That was a thing. And I, you know, again, didn't have full kayfabe. So like, his character really worked and really convinced me. I was like, okay, so the owner of this company is a lunatic who inserts himself into matches. Like, that was the kayfabe and the reality, really. But then they introduced this old man who's a legend, who was taking the company, and that whole story just like threw me. I didn't understand. Yeah. I was like, so this guy actually owns wrestling now? Like,
he owns wrestling.
I fully thought he just owned all of wrestling because he's a legend.
If you hit a move on a sibling in your bedroom, he takes a pay cut. He takes a cut of that.
And that was. I'm saying it like that intentionally because like, I was 8, so like in my mind, it wasn't he owned wrestling. Ric Flair took wrestling away from Vince McMahon,
and that's why Vince did his classic thing that he does.
But now obviously with, you know, being an absolute smark, I understand all of it, all that context now. I'm like, okay.
It's almost unfortunate because it feels like there's no mysteries left anymore. You know, like these days, like, when was the last time I watched an AEW show? Genuinely, like, probably before lockdown, or other than when I went to see it live. It would have been before lockdown, but I could tell. I know who the champion is. I know that Mercedes Moné is a champion. I know Mariah May is a champion.
Ricochet's there now. I was really disappointed by that, you know. I really was hoping that was going to be a work.
Well, and that he was actually still in WWE.
Yeah. I was really hoping they were going to turn around and he was going to almost like go a bit heel after not getting the push and getting battered by Braun Breaker. It could have been an interesting, like, it was all a work and he comes back and he turns heel and he's just like this badass Ricochet who just starts doing like RVD level moves with chairs and shit. I don't know.
That'd be sick.
Instead, he's just gone to chat to his bruv, Will Ospreay. I can't believe.
Well,
I think I've completely 180'd on Will Ospreay. I really don't fuck Will Ospreay anymore. He annoys
Really?
the fuck out of me. He's good. He's a sick wrestler, but it's almost like all those cool cruiserweights are back in the day. It's like, yeah, you were cool, but like you have like you're actually kind of shit on the mic, and
Yeah.
like, you know, there's only a certain amount of, you know,
He's got a
shooting star
catchphrase.
presses I can watch.
He almost rinses the fun out of it. You know, like you do all this really cool shit, and obviously the more you see something, the more you get like bored of it. But also there's the fact that he does it, and he somehow makes a fucking Tiger Driver, which kayfabe injured Daniel Bryan, just seem like another thing.
Yeah, that was all bollocks as well. That's what I mean. AEW's struggling, man. Like,
That was 2-3 months ago, right? Daniel Bryan's the champion. What happened?
That was literally the whole pull. Like, it was like, what, he injured Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan he's already had a long storied career of injuries, might have to retire, and oh look, he actually beat Swerve. He wins. He's the champion now. I'm like, yeah, that was cool. That was the only moment. That and the Tony Storm, Mariah May stuff.
I heard that was a classic.
That looks great. Like, that was probably the only thing I was actually interested in watching it for, and maybe seeing, you know, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson in person.
That would have been. I would have loved to see Bryan Danielson,
Especially in like
Bernie Daniels. I don't know.
I'm literally putting, I can't remember which way around it is anymore. Like, so I just say both.
Sundan Bryanson.
But yeah. So yeah, other than my 2003 binge, which I'm on at the moment, between that and watching a bit of 2017-18, I feel like what we need to address. So that was it. That was the intro. We've done the intro. We're half an hour in. We're doing great.
Not the longest we've done.
So I've still got my requests. So we share notes sometimes, but I've started doing this thing where I redact the notes, like some shady FBI file, so I can surprise him, and so the conversation has some natural rhetoric to it. I don't know, but so we talked about 2003, and you saw the notes. So I've got like a little headliner which was 2003. Was it awesome? I'm gonna make that graphic. Was it awesome?
Please put the least awesome things you can find in there.
That's pretty much what I'm starting off. Top of the list. John Cena was racist as fuck in 2003. This is our GOAT, everybody. Now, I say that as if, like, you know, the fucking COO also wasn't racist as fuck in his prime. You could pick 3 random DX in-ring promos, and it's usually Triple H saying some racist shit.
Two-thirds of them will have some insult against Pakistani people.
In fact, 2003 Triple H, I just watched WrestleMania 19.
That match introduced me to the concept of white guilt.
Like, I knew everything about this match going into it. I sort of roughly remember it, like, you know, because I was watching wrestling at the time, but, you know, I wasn't watching weekly and consistently to get all the story notes, you know, but, fuck me, it was bad. Fuck me. I'm like, there's no two ways. It wasn't Triple H. Like, Ric Flair jumped in. I think that was
Of course Ric Flair did. Fucking hell.
The more devastating part of it is they already establish very early on in this little angle that, like, Rick and Book have history. And then they make it worse. It was like Rick's been feeding Triple H information to his intel. It's almost like, you know, Rick was Book's best mate in school and in primary school, but now they're in secondary school. Now Rick and Triple H are the cool kids, and he's just feeding him. He's like, yeah, but like, you know, when he was a champ, I wasn't even there, mate. Like he wasn't even like a champ when WCW was good. And like, it's fucking savage. And then saying horrible shit, like, you know, people like you, like, you know, there's the obvious racist shit. But then when Rick jumps in on it as well, I'm like, mate, you guys used to be friends.
Yeah.
And now you're just being racist to him in the ring. Wooing in his face, basically, he's calling him a slave. Like, what the fuck is
the
this?
Wu Klux Klan.
Oh, it was crazy. And then he lost.
He didn't just lose. He was unconscious for 3 minutes before he got pinned. It was the slow crawl over, and you can hear the crowd slowly getting quiet. Like, oh no,
he's
racism wins.
Racism. People like Book don't get to be the WWE. Fuck. Triple H was right.
How long did it take for a black person to win the men's title after that? We're not including Bobby Lashley.
Well, it's dicey. It's very dicey when you say a black person, because technically, like in the 90s, there was a black champion.
After this, when was the next time after that?
So are we counting The Rock as a black champion?
Well, he didn't win the title after that.
So we're saying like
yeah, like if you have
after
the
The
quote,
Rock,
people like you don't get to win the title or don't get to win. After that, when was the next time a person like that got to win? How long of
the strap?
Yeah. How long of a problem did this create? I mean, we could work backwards.
Does Rey Mysterio count? He's not really white. I mean, I'm like, I have to go broader with it. I have to go with non-white champions, like non-white American.
Yeah,
like,
you have to assemble the university leaflet friendshp group to try and figure out who did it.
So it's like, I'm pulling in Eddie, I'm pulling in Ray. They're on my team now. they're with me in book.
JBL has a bit of like Austrian in him. We'll get him involved.
No, we don't want JBL.
No
one holds a claim to JBL.
Even Farouk's probably done with him. I mean, we could work backwards. Mainly, you've had. Can't remember if Big E was. I genuinely feel like it might have been.
Oh, was Big E the last black? No, Big E was the last black champion.
No, sorry, I mean like after. After that, it could have been.
It would have been Book. Book got it first, didn't he?
2006, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was Book. You know, Book got the redemption.
So King Booker was the good guy the whole time.
Even though he acted like an ass, yeah, he was the. It's so twisted. Okay, so that wasn't even the main point. The main point was about John Cena. You know the.
Oh yeah, racism. Fuck.
The famous Los Guerreros feud. John Cena just weekly coming out and I can't lie, the bars were fire.
Yeah,
like, I'm not even trying to be funny or cheesy. Like, genuinely, some of those bars are fucking great.
It makes the Acclaimed look like bitches.
I wish I'd written some of them down, but they were great. I might have to put like a small clip of like, John making Taco Bell jokes. Like, it was good.
When we become uncancelable, we are going to have a segment where we have to create our own John Cena bars.
I'll do it. I'll fucking do it. I know you will.
Was this the time when he was with Bull Buchanan, B2?
I was going to mention that. So I've got B2. And do you remember what happened with B2?
No.
John got sick of him and just basically fucks him off. And then and like basically jumps him. So I think he has a match with, I want to say Eddie or Chavo. It's all around the same time. So John Cena's putting racist bars at Los Guerreros. He's bringing B2 down with him. They have a tag match against Los Guerreros. I think they lose, and then John punches him. This was heel Cena when he was using the chain.
Like the first half of the year.
Yeah, he's using the chain to punch people, and something happens, and he B2 fucks up, and he jumps B2, and another guy comes. He gets another guy who's like dressed up, and this is the thing I wanted to get to, because you know what that guy's name was?
Jesus, is it?
I can't remember. I can't actually remember. But the funny thing is, this guy comes in and he's basically going to be B2's replacement because B2's been letting John down. 1 week later, John Cena's just come into the ring solo, and the other guy is never mentioned ever again. So they basically like, we're going to replace B2. No, actually, we're dropping this whole thing. We're just dropping this whole fucking thing.
What did he do? To never get a mention again.
I had to go back because I was watching the SmackDown. This was literally the last few weeks I've been looking at this. And I noticed the B2 betrayal, the new guy, and then a week later, John Solo. And the week after that, he's Solo. I'm like, wait, what happened to the other guy? It's like, he's just gone. Vince was like,
he's going to come back. He's going to come back on the John Cena retirement tour.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, bro, we need both of these motherfuckers back for the John Cena.
In WWE 2K15, they had My Career mode. It was, you know how in NBA there's like a story, and it was like that year. And then your final match you can have against a young up-and-comer. You can have it against this guy called Baron Blade, who has a 40 overall, but is your arch nemesis because you came in at the same time. Or you can have it against like Roman Reigns or something. This is after a like 30-year time jump. So Roman Reigns is like 60 at this point.
30-year time jump, fucking
genuinely. And that's what this could be. You could just bring back some random guy from your past, and that's who John Cena loses to on the way out.
Well, we all know who it rightfully should be. His retirement match.
Probably Randy.
No, it should be Kurt Angle. But obviously we can't do that.
Yeah.
Not only would that be redemption for Kurt's retirement match, but it really would just tie a bow around the whole thing.
It would. And it'd be a really interesting one because obviously you got the whole you have to lose on your way out thing.
Well, that's not a thing anymore, though, is it?
No, it's not.
Especially now, you know, Sting set that
Sting.
bar very, very fucking high.
The greatest retirement of all time.
He's like, yeah, Darby's going to go to the hospital. We're not going to drop the tag titles. And I'm going to fucking win.
And he's going to get to do what everyone ever wanted to do, which is make the Young Bucks cry.
The Young Bucks hatred is great. I love it.
They love it as well. I mean, fair play to them. Never want to see him again, but fair play to him.
But yeah, we're not gonna get into the John retirement match stuff. Yeah, there was the B2 stuff. So
something I will say for John Cena, his year was ridiculous because you talk about that first half of the year he had, where he was feuding. He had B2, he had N2, no name.
N2, unknown John Cena partner.
That first half of the year was a bit shit. All of a sudden, he's got a world title match. I think he was Brock's first defense.
Yeah. Well, you say that because this is what I like about the whole SmackDown 6 concept, because what they did quite cleverly with SmackDown was like Raw really like treated itself like the main show, and everything going on Raw had to be like big and over the top. Where SmackDown was like they always treated themselves like these B storylines, but they were all sort of running and everyone was involved in like the one big B storyline, which was just the SmackDown events.
Yeah, there's like so many moving pieces. Yeah,
like you had, like I said, you had John Cena beefing with the people in contention for the WWE Championship, but also just pissing off Los Guerreros on the side, who were the tag team champions. And it was like, this was cool. Like, so at the time, like you said, 2003, John Cena was like, he was not all over the place in a messy way. He was literally like dipping his toes into everything in a very clever way.
He had a reason to be there, and he had a reason to get involved.
Like, everyone hated him because he was an asshole who would spit bars and insult everybody.
Yeah, even the Undertaker kicked the shit out of him at Vengeance or whatever it was.
Like, in fact, he was in the final 4 for the Royal Rumble that year.
Was he really?
No, maybe 5. No, I want to say he was the final 4. It was Taker, Kane, Batista, and
obviously Brock,
yeah. So I think he was 5. He was the last person to be eliminated before those.
Before they got to
I will double check this. I might be horribly wrong, but I'm
first eliminated.
Very confident that he was like the last before the final 4, which is always that moment, because it was because that final 4 was the sort of mini rivalries, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You sort of had like you had the Brothers of Destruction, but not working together, but then sort of working together, but then needing to betray each other.
Kane versus Evolution. Well, it was Kane and RVD versus Evolution, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then you had it was cool. It was a cool moment, but John was in that sort of like, you know, 'cause being in the final 5 Royal Rumble and being even the third guy in a rivalry is always a good thing. Always like a good testament to like the plans they have for you and like where you're going in the company.
Yeah, if you're getting screen time, like, I obviously you need to be against someone good, but it does kind of feel like when you're mixing with all those people, any screen time is good screen time.
Yeah,
because you're always going to be, even if the thing that doesn't work right now sucks, you're going to be into something new so quickly, but without dropping what you're doing. Which also brings me to the fact that Brock Lesnar had a really weird 2003 as well.
Yes.
Like, I had 2.5 people in mind for who I wanted to talk about when it comes to 2003. One of them is Brock. And I did want to say, the first half of the year, I thought he was excellent.
I haven't got to the second half yet, so...
Oh, you've got
I've
worst
just
time
watched
coming.
WrestleMania 19. And I've just watched Goldberg's introduction because I was like, I remember that. I do remember that.
Well, we can talk about Goldberg's. There's so much to talk about with 2003. Holy shit.
Yeah, 2003 is a crazy year.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to talk about Kevin Nash as well.
Like, there was things, you take snapshots. I think it's one of the most funny things you could do with wrestling, especially when you're a bit of a historian, a bit of a smark. You can take snapshots from like a random time and you can look at the roster. And especially when you're like 10, 20 years removed from it, you're like, holy shit, these people were all on the roster at the same time.
Yes.
And it's crazy. Like, there was a time when John Cena, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Rowdy Roddy Piper...
and Sean O'Hare.
like, we're all on the roster at the same time. And I'm
Yes.
like, what the fuck? That's a snapshot from where I've just come from in 2003. What I just watched. All these people on the roster, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Half of them were on the
Brock
same
Lesnar,
show.
Undertaker, Rock, Stone Cold, yeah, like RVD, like and it sounds like I literally just named like 4 different eras of wrestling. I'm like, this is 2003?
Yeah. Like, and it's such a forgotten year as well. Like, everyone goes back and talks about, like, people will talk about 2002, the rise of Brock, obviously the invasion, 2001, 2000, probably PWWE, WWF, 1999, like Stone Cold's like most prominent year, 98, the start of the Attitude Era, 97, the Monday Night Wars. Who the fuck talks about 2003? And yet you've got all this crazy shit there. You've got weird, evil Brock Lesnar.
Weird evil. You're about to get into evil Brock. So what was it about? I don't care if it's spoilers. Like there was things that I do recall anyway. Is this the year that he decides to start mashing up Rey Mysterio, or is that a different time?
He starts mashing up Rey Mysterio. So
Is this the one leg guy as well? Yes.
Bork Laser beat up one leg man.
Yes.
That's
we
the
covered
problem.
this. I didn't realize that was 2003. Yeah, this is really
that heel run.
This is fucking great, Brock.
So I'm not going to give spoilers for the Kurt Angle feud because that continues and it's fucking excellent.
Yeah.
Watch the SmackDowns. The SmackDowns there is some gold in there.
Oh, no, I'm torturing myself. I'm doing the thing that I couldn't be bothered to do before. I'm actually going between Raw, SmackDown throughout
Get a bit of
2003.
velocity in there just to spoil yourself.
And then no, I'm not doing that shit. No, I'm just painstakingly having to go out and then find the next one in the fucking app. God, Netflix, please save us.
Up here, down here, up here.
It's driving me nuts. But what I was going to say is there was one other thing, because we were almost on the subject of it, that in terms of gimmicks 2003 and introduction to gimmicks, we mentioned Los Guerreros. What was their big gimmick change in 2003?
Well, they bring out the lowrider and they lie, cheat, and steal.
Yes. Do you know how that was introduced?
No. I feel like it's got something to do with...
It was a video package.
I thought it was to do with the Bashams or something.
No, it was a video package. It's like, because they already were they were the tag team champions on and off, and it was just this random. It was just after being abused and feuding with John Cena and Team Angle separately,
yeah.
as in like John Cena was just being racist to them, so they needed to teach him a lesson. That was pretty much the gist of that rivalry was John Cena being a racist asshole, so they needed to teach him a lesson.
The Rise Up Against Racism side quest.
And then they went for the tag titles. But yeah, somewhere after that, and I'm talking like a couple weeks after that, a video package comes up. And it's like, there it is, the famous little one with them coming up in a lowrider their head. It's like, it's Chavo, it's Eddie, they're Los Guerreros, Viva la Raza. And then it cuts to them walking down the street.
I don't know why that's
chatting some shit. And the lady's walking towards them with a pram. And they start chatting. Already, I'm watching this in 2024, looking at a 2003 video of 2 Latino men approaching a blonde white woman walking a baby.
A baby.
And immediately trying to flirt and,
give it the old razzle dazzle.
Already making way too much contact as 2 men, 1 woman, and it's like, oh, how you doing, baby? And it's all this, and then they start pretending to try and use the baby, like, oh, what a cute baby. I'm doing the accent I really shouldn't.
I didn't want to say. It's better that you do it than me, but
my girlfriend will give me a pass. I can't say the N-word all the time. I don't. That's a joke. But yeah, and then basically the ending is the woman walks away and they have basically pickpocketed her and the baby. To an insane degree. Like they've got chains, wallets, things. Chavo has taken the baby's bottle.
Is he just sitting around?
No, it's like, why you take the bottle? He's like, oh, you took everything else, man. I'm like, and then it ends like, lie, cheat, and steal. And I'm like, how is this a gimmick change and what the fuck did I just watch?
And why is it so good?
Like, it was so, and then because obviously before they just came into Viva la Raza, and then they had the change up after this video where they're coming out, we lie, we cheat, we steal, which did bang, by the way, fucking great.
Yeah, it is
song.
a banger.
We lie, we cheat, we steal. But it was like, what a ill-conceived concept. Two Latin men who are just gonna rob a woman and a child.
Yeah. It's stereotypes in an attempt to get someone over. And it worked.
Because it only worked because of the in-ring gimmicks though. Like,
Yeah, because both of those were such entertaining guys.
they were excellent.
And then obviously, what was it? Like, this would have happened, what, like early year? You think like 9 months later.
This is like March.
9 months later, it cuts to a picture of Eddie with Chavo's blood on his hands. Chavo is handcuffed to the fucking ring post. And Chavo's dad is just there like, stop it, Eddie, stop. And then 10 years later, he gets a Mountain Goat song named after him. Rest in peace, Chavo Classic.
The Chavo Classic.
That's what they called him. And then Chavo Classic accidentally won the Cruiserweight title from Chavo Jr.
Fucking, yeah, I know.
Another time.
My honourable mention from 2003, SmackDown particularly, is Matt Hardy.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Because Matt Hardy, first of all, how did I not notice the whole him calling Shannon his little Matt follower, his little MFer, which Taz had way too much fun mentioning over. Oh, that's little MFer, that's little MFer. It's like, yeah, we get it, Taz, motherfucker.
Please shut up, Loompa Loompa.
Yeah, we love Taz. We love Taz and Michael Cole. The golden age of commentary. But yeah, like, I think it's funny because I want to say is when the Matt version 1 came out,
V1
I sort of nothinged it. I didn't dislike it. I didn't like it. Now I look back at it, I'm like, I appreciate it because, and this is going to go down a bit of a tangent, but let's be honest. In terms of after the Hardy Boys, Team Extreme were basically done and we made them go solo.
Yeah.
It sort of makes you, as a smark, I suppose, as a casual wrestling fan and as a child at the time, I didn't give a shit. But now I look at it, I'm like, what was their gimmick? And furthermore, what was Jeff's gimmick after the Hardy Boys stopped being the Hardy Boys and he was just Jeff Hardy for 10 years?
Oh, I know exactly.
Don't say drug addict.
No, that was even longer after that. He lived the gimmick. He worked himself into a shoot. Well, I think just to touch on Matt, it's looking back on it and knowing what we know now, I do think it's genuinely incredible what he did. Because it was so hard to tap into as a kid. A, because he turned heel. Out of the two of them, it was always going to be him who turned heel. But it's such a hard left turn, what he did, going from the Team Extreme gimmick into just internet troll, essentially. Or a guy who wants to build a massive following online.
And again, I'm just going to quickly jump in and first of all, ahead of his time.
Way ahead of its time.
The version 1.0 was way, the little fun facts kill me. Watching them now, fucking kill me.
I bet he came up with them himself.
100%.
I bet no one in the back wanted to have anything to do with it.
Like, Matt, these aren't funny, it's like people will get it. in the future, the internet, people will get it.
They'll understand. They will get it. But that's his gimmick. But if you want to look at what Jeff's gimmick is, you kind of just got to take a look at what he was doing at the time and how he dressed. So the one that I always remember is sort of late 2002, and then because he was gone by No Way Out, I think. Let's say his Royal Rumble appearance, where he did look really bad. So he comes out, he's got the white vest, white jeans, he's got the arm paint on, he's got the face paint here. Dude's an interior decorator. That's his gimmick. He'll come round your ass, he'll get the big rolly out, he'll put it on his arms first, just to test it works, start huffing it, and then he'll do your ass.
Is that weirdly alternative labourer that when he turns up to your house, you're like, is this guy going to do a good job? And he does do a weirdly good job, but he does raise a lot of red flags. Like, he spent 20 minutes in the toilet on the phone and it smells of weed in there now.
He's got way too many like spray paint cans, but he's not used a single one of them. But somehow they've gotten lighter.
He also fucked off for 2 hours.
Of course he did.
But he said it'd be 20 minutes. But he got the job done.
He got the job done.
And it was cheap. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like, Jeff is just a fucking weird one. Like,
he is.
I feel dirty as a Jeff fan. Like, even now, when people who are casual or like, old wrestling fans are like, oh, Jeff Hardy was the best. I'm like, you don't know shit.
Yeah.
You're the guy that he would come. It's like, you're like he's like your stepdad. Like, Jeff Hardy is your fucking stepdad. You don't realise what bullshit he's done become your stepdad.
No, I'm going.
You don't realise he ruined a family to become the cool stepdad. Like, you have no idea. Like,
I thought we were going to go the opposite way with this. I was going to say, no, Matt Hardy's the stepdad, and you don't know the blood, sweat, and tears he's put in to become your stepdad, and the hard work he's like, but no, you want Jeff back. But no, he don't care. He's not trying to see the kids.
No, Matt's your real dad. Matt does the fucking work. Matt's the reason. And he got screwed over when another man came in and fucked his whole shit up. I'm looking at you, Adam Copeland. Let's be honest, what disrupted the Matt version 1 run? His beef with Edge and Lita was what he got released for. And then, he got fucked. Matt is your real dad who deserves love and respect. And now everyone's matured and grown up. And we're like, we look at Matt and we're like, we're so sorry we didn't appreciate you. We're so sorry. You worked so fucking hard and we love you now.
We know you made the Matt Hardy show and it was really regrettable and embarrassing for both you and Lita, a.k.a. Abi Dumar. But I am willing to look past that because it's Matt and Matt is now my favourite.
I feel like right now, with all this talk, like, the TNA run, because they're back in TNA. In fact, they did an intro with Joe Hendry the other day. The Hardy Boys and Joe Hendry, which is showing the fucking pulling power of Joe Hendry. Like, the Hardy Boys come back, we're like, we'll do an introduction with you. They realise he's hot. What a viral moment. But point being, right now, it's almost like, again, casual fans think, the Hardy Boys back TNA might come to WWE. We're going to see Jeff. And the real fans are like, delete. And
it kind of feels like, when... I'm not going to use Oasis as a reference because I don't ever want to use Oasis as a reference. But when like a classic act comes back and they've had their heyday, they did that really cool thing that brought them back into the... You could almost say American Idiot. And then all of a sudden, 20 years later, they come back and they've actually put something good out again. But it doesn't go mainstream. It just stays within the fan base, and the fan base loves it.
Yeah.
That is the new run of Broken Matt Hardy.
100%. Everybody's here for it. And there was even times when, let's be honest, when it first dropped, when Broken Matt Hardy dropped, everyone was like, oh. Oh.
When WWE did their version of the Ultimate Deletion, Michael Cole had a 2-minute spiel before it saying, we're sorry we're putting this out. We don't want to do it. This is really embarrassing for the sport. We hate it. No, turn it off. Turn Raw off. You're going to ruin it. And then they show it, and then everyone loves it. It's just like, yeah, no shit. Vince didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, because Matt was a visionary, a revolutionary. He is Matt freaking.
That works.
Right?
Matt freaking Hardy works. I'm pretty sure he called himself Matt freaking Hardy at one point.
So anyway, I want to just give a little shout out to Matt Hardy. There's other stuff I want to talk about. We've got about an hour left on this. So there's just 2 things I want to
I'm happy
gloss
to ramble
over.
on about 2003 this whole time.
No, there's a massive time jump I have to do for my request.
Okay,
where you're going to catch me up.
2 things before we time jump. First thing I wanted to say, Mark had a terrible year.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, what's his name?
Nathan Jones.
The
Beast of Borgo Road, mate. I've been put into a main event, well, it's not main event, but, I've been put into a WrestleMania match with my mate, Mark Calloway, The Undertaker. Except 5 minutes before the match starts, they're going to pull me out because I can't fucking wrestle. So, now on The Undertaker's undefeated streak, he's got fucking Albert and Big Show. That's not even the worst part of his year, though, is it?
I haven't seen the rest. All I know is that you can tell, again, smarkiness, you can tell when the whole lead up, and then you watch WrestleMania 19, as a smart, you're like, oh, they pulled him from the match.
Yeah.
They straight just pulled him, because like the fact that he gets a random appearance later, like someone getting jumped is either for an interesting pop. Let's be honest. Like if they, for example, when it was like, I'm trying to think of a good one, like Edge and Christian versus the Dudleys, and the Dudleys jump Edge before the match, but then Christian's put into a handicap. You know that's because Edge is going to come back with a big pop.
Yeah.
Halfway through the match. Cool.
Yeah. And he'll get on the apron. You have the big hot tag moment.
They did it this year with, you know, Judgment Day versus. Oh my god, I've just got that Miz and R-Truth name, whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you know they're getting a partner that you can't see. You know, great pop, great moment. This guy that nobody knows, no one gives a fuck about.
Just
him being pulled from the
Aussie
mat.
guy.
Like, I almost convinced myself at 19. I was like, wait, does that mean he's going to get a random new partner? Because that was the other reason to do that. Like,
yeah,
someone
you
awesome is coming. But I'm like, I don't recall there being a random tag partner for Undertaker at WrestleMania 19. How does this match end again? And then I watched it. I'm like,
how the match ends is how the streak, canon-wise, should have ended. No. Listen, that match was turned into a handicap match, right? That wasn't a tag match anymore. Nathan Jones attacked one of them. That's a disqualification.
Technically speaking, yes, but there was a lot of that. I wish I'd kept note of this, because there was a lot of instances. You mentioned that, and I thought of it straight away. Like, there was about 3 matches where I'm like, that should have been a DQ. That should also have been a DQ. I'm like, okay, we're just fucking the rules here.
It's the grandest stage of them all. It's the granddaddy of them all. No, you can't say that anymore. It makes it sound old.
Yeah. You got the Undertaker, Nathan Jones shit. Obviously, he had his big return at the Rumble. I thought he was gonna win, and I forgot he doesn't win that one.
Oh, Undertaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. He gets dumped out on his ass by Brock just to ride his motorbike out.
I'm just gonna. This is not one of my notes. I'm just randomly remembering because of that. We mentioned the Rumble and Taker.
Yeah. Obviously, it ends with him getting buried alive by his boss. Buried alive.
Don't. That's my favorite part of the year. And let's not even talk about my favorite person. How their year ends, because we're about to enter into some dicey territory.
Oh no.
Yeah, Kane and RVD just won the World Tag Team titles. Yeah, I know. The most controversial moment in my fucking young wrestling watching life.
All I'm going to say is enjoy it while you can. Because that start of Unmasked Kane is so good.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
So good. Tombstone's Linda McMahon. Who hasn't wanted to Tombstone Linda McMahon? I was watching Raw last night to prepare for this. And there was genuine, like, this isn't about Kane. This is about Linda McMahon.
Which Raw?
2003 Raw.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I wanted to watch it because...
Which end? You're at the end?
Like August.
Okay.
Because I wanted to get an idea of, like... Because Kevin Nash has a hair versus hair match. And
yeah,
I despise Kevin Nash. He's so boring. Even the hair versus hair match was boring. But I watched this episode, and there's a scene where... I call them scenes, because Triple H loves cinematic wrestling, doesn't he? There's a segment where Eric Bischoff breaks into Linda McMahon's house while she's got a broken neck. She's taken the neck brace off, by the way. She's just thrown it over there. It's like, I'm going to be okay. I have 2 herniated discs in my neck. And this is her trying to talk naturally. But then
she did always come across as weird. Like it felt like she was like taking a podium every time she was on the mic.
She's the Liz Truss of professional wrestling. I'm going to China to open new pork markets. But Eric Bischoff breaks in, snogs her, and he goes, "My, you are a big-breasted woman."
Yeah, and he's another one actually. I forgot. He going back to my question at the beginning. Eric Bischoff. It should have been on my list of people when introduced, getting a big pop. My face. I'm like watching. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, I genuinely thought he was a new character. That I used to believe that like people were pretending to know who people were when I was a kid. because, you know, I'm arrogant, and I was like, if I don't know who they are, no one surely knows who they are. 8-year-old, 9-year-old Zach. Yeah, just you mentioned Bischoff, and I was like, oh yeah, when Big E turned up, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And he became a serious influence on the whole show.
Raw. He was Monday Night Raw, and obviously off show. But my favourite Raw memories, even if it wasn't the best years, will be when Eric Bischoff was it. When you'd open Raw, and then it would just cut to a bit
of his face.
But then I watched that episode last night. It was Sheriff Austin, and then it cuts to a picture of Austin again, like that. I'm just like, this is great. This is so silly.
I actually,
so fun.
I'm conscious of time. I have another note about 2003 as a whole, but there's a couple of things I want to mention. So we were just laughing at Eric Bischoff and the Linda McMahon and Kane stuff. There's the big elephant in the room of 2003, but this is sort of okay. I'm going to quickly talk about the Girls Gone Wild Test and Tory shit because that was fucking hilarious, right? So do you know what Girls Gone Wild was?
No.
It's basically like some shitty company similar to like Playboy-esque, like a modeling agency, but like a lot raunchier than Playboy that was sort of big and up and coming at the time. Right. So this is one of those like
it's not to do with
endorsements.
The thing, mainly.
No, it was. Yeah, they were like an agency who used to get models and things in. So they basically it was like a crossover. They were crossing over their divas with Girls Gone Wild, similar to the way they would do it with Playboy. That's what was going on, and I was realizing I was watching this, and I'm like, oh, that makes way more sense now. Why there was all these women that I didn't know, but. Have you? So I've obviously just rewatched it. I don't know if you've gone back and rewatched the Girls Gone Wild segments from 2003. So there's one in particular that I'm gonna have to put up some screenshots and maybe even just a clip of because there's a segment where Test.
Will we get demonetized if you put those up?
No, but I just want other people to investigate it. Maybe it's just because people look. I'm older now and people look younger than I don't know. My point being, there's someone with Test who's been sent off as like the ambassador for Girls Gone Wild for WWE or some shit.
Which is never a good thing.
Which is, the storyline is, he's dating Stacey Keebler at the time, so he shouldn't be touching women and all that stuff.
He is kidnapped Stacey Keebler. Let's be real.
Oh, that's the back end, because by this point they're like happy. They love each other.
Are they?
Yeah, they're in a relationship. Like, in fact, she's getting jealous of him going to Girls Gone Wild.
Oh, okay.
Let's not even get into the fucking the Stockholm syndrome of all that bullshit. Let's move on from that.
My question is also, with the Scott Steiner part, is that a kink thing? Do you think that was bisexuality on Monday Night Raw?
I'm not sure.
Test! I want you to holler when I'm as deep in as I can get.
I think they just wanted to, it's just, to me, I think this has been humiliating WCW guys, which we'll get into as well.
Yeah, we are going to get into that.
But yeah, so my point was going to be, basically, it's Test with a bunch of these girls from Girls Gone Wild on a bus, and they're getting him, they're all being flirty with him, like, sitting on his lap. There's like 10 women in the room. 2 of them are sat on him. One of them asked him to sign her chest. My problem is, these girls look about 15 years old. Like, I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, these girls look horribly young. This is not aged well, because Test looks like a 30-year-old man.
He's also like 25.
He's also like 6 foot, plus.
6'4", something like that.
And there's all these tiny models who all look very young, all throwing themselves at him. I'm like, this is fucking weird. I'm not even like uncomfortable for women. I'm uncomfortable as a voyeur because I feel like I'm watching something I should not be watching.
Yeah. It feels like the kind of thing where if you were to Google it, people would come to your house.
Someone's coming over to talk about your internet history. But yeah, that's what. And then later on, a couple of weeks later, there's also segments with Tori. That's why I wrote Tori as well that you saw, because it's Tori trying to get onto Girls Gone Wild. I'm like, this is so demeaning. This is already more demeaning than the bra and panties match that she had a week ago against her stepmother about her now dead father, which I can't even bother to talk about it because you mentioned it because you brought that up to me. I hadn't actually seen the angle. I've now seen the entire angle. I don't want to talk about it. This man,
funny enough, she didn't during her Hall of Fame speech either. So
she didn't talk about it.
No, I don't think so.
Because what I didn't realize, I had to Google it. I didn't realize that was her real dad.
Al, wasn't it?
And that's his real name. And he just basically had to just pretend he was dead for a while for kayfabe. So when people out on the street would see him and be like, aren't you supposed to be dead? Didn't Dawn Marie kill you with sex? Like, and to this day, the man's still alive, isn't he? I think he's alive.
So.
I think he's still alive.
A lovely bloke.
But surely people just to this day are like, hey, didn't Dawn Marie's sex kill you like 20 years ago? Fucking crazy. Wrestling's fucking crazy, bro.
I love it so much.
But my gosh. So, yeah, it was basically that. The big one I wanted to get to was the Naruto feud, and this was gonna feed into another sort of angle that I feel like is a redemption thing. So I'm gonna talk about the Vince and Hulk shit, Vince versus Hogan, because obviously that whole thing, I actually dated it. There's literally a shouting match they have with each other that gets so real.
It's March, isn't it?
6th of March.
The right gay at the wrong time. Is it that one?
Yeah. But I think it was me, like, you know, obviously you walked out at me, Hogan, but it was the you testified against me against the FBI, and I'm like, oh, we're doing
the real shit.
We're getting real. We're getting fucking real right now. I'm like, I was just sat there in shock the other day, like, oh shit, no, he did actually justify against him with the FBI. But here's the crazy thing. I was like, here's like the triple bluff craziest part of this whole angle. Vince was guilty. Let's not lie here. Vince wasn't guilty. He got away with that. And not only did he get away with it, he hires Hogan back, knowing that Hogan's a pool, but he also made Hogan. There's so much mental fucking shit at play here.
Yeah.
Like, because Hogan's had to come crawling back after the death of WCW, let's be honest. They've done a whole angle. Now he's like, right, we're going to do an angle where it's me versus you, and we're going to bring up all the real shit that we've been through in the last 10 years.
Those horrible things you did to me?
Yeah. You know that time you lied to the Federal Bureau about me? And Hogan's like, but I didn't lie.
He did lie about him because he kind of defended Vince. But it broke Vince's heart.
The whole angle was
what scumbags. What two horrible, disgusting men.
That's the part I was going to get to. I was like, and the worst part about it is, I'm watching this feud now in 2024, and I'm like, is it possible they both could just lose? Like, I know that we're obviously putting over the guy that Vince loves and whatever, but
yeah,
it's like, I'm just now in 2024 watching Vince versus Hogan, just like, I want someone just to, could Brock Lesnar just come out and just wreck them both?
It would have been great if when Hogan went from that... No, it was Vince who went for the leg drop. It would have been great if he had a heart attack up there and then crashed through onto Hogan and killed him.
They both just died.
Just right there. And then they carried on with the show.
Right.
Brock Lesnar goes out, still almost breaks his neck. But it's slightly less tragic because of...
The best thing about this angle, and the thing I actually started to realize about a lot of the angles that happened in 2003, is these are the stories that Vince should have done instead of the invasion, instead of the NWO angle. It's almost like these are stories that he wanted to get to, but first he had to be petty.
Yeah, he had to win
be
again.
Insane. Because let's be honest, what was the stories that we had? Like, remove the racism. What did we actually have with Book versus Triple H? You had the two sort of late but top guys from a company when all the actual top guys were out, which could have been the story there. Like, Hogan had gone. Hogan Nash had gone. Rick was gone. Who was the top guy in WCW? Booker T. Who became one of the top guys when Rock and Austin fucked off and Brett was gone and Shawn was gone? Triple H. That was your rivalry right there. The old company, the two companies' top guys. Brilliant. The Vince versus Hogan stuff, that's a fucking brilliant story to tell.
I ate that up as a kid. And part of me, it's the wrestling fan of me, still says, that's a fucking great story.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm literally shouting out now. It was a brilliant angle. We're talking about bringing reality into kayfabe. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant fucking stuff.
And it happened at the right time, because you had the right the right guys. Sorry. It's too easy. It's so good.
It's too easy. But
Up
there was
the Kamala Harris, by the way. Fuck you, Hogan.
there was another example I had of like a rivalry that was sort of born of like, really, if you looked at it from a certain angle, born of like,
What, the WCW WWE?
yeah.
Do you mind if I take over this for a second?
Yes.
I don't want to give you spoilers for the rest of the year, but I do view 2003 as the year Triple H pulverized the dead corpse of WCW.
No, 100%. No, you're right. Yeah, the burying of Goldberg. I remember I did watch 2003 as it happened. I've just been out the loop.
But I think when you go back to it, you don't realise how many feuds he had with WCW.
I was about to say, well, no, it's the year starts with him burying Scott Steiner, then burying Booker T, and then
Kevin Nash.
Oh yeah, well, the Nash thing's is even deeper because that's like
that's like isn't it?
Yeah, that's because like I put Nash in the same grouping as how like really as much as I disliked it, it was Shawn putting him over that Shawn comes back and wins the title and then loses it straight back to Triple H.
Armageddon 3. We need to bring back 3 stages of Hell matches, but that's different.
I thought about this as well. That's how I think I'm just saying this now very quickly because you said it. That's how the Punk Drew thing should end. If they're not going to do the triple threat with Seth, Punk, and Drew, which it seems like they're just not working towards it anymore, which I thought would have been epic.
It feels like a waste, but also I think Seth's taken time off. I kind of want to say Mania.
We'll get to it.
But I do also want to say, at some point before Mania, Drew McIntyre needs to give up and try and escape Punk. And he needs to go to TNA for a couple of months. He needs to get into a main event match for the belt. He needs to get screwed by CM Punk.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
That would be so good. And that would be them paying their debt back to TNA.
There's talks of things like that anyway. So I'm just, again, conscious of time. So
No, I get it.
We have covered, yeah, the interesting angles that went down that I think they could have just really done a year earlier. That is what's sad about a lot of it. But moving on, because I want to do my time jump. Because we've been talking about 2003 basically for this whole time.
Is this where you're getting into what you want me to explain to you?
Yes.
Can I have a guess of what it is?
Go on then.
I'm kind of guessing that it's, and if I'm wrong, it's a good topic for another episode.
Okay.
It's not the anonymous general manager. It's the guest host era.
No, but it probably crosses into it. It's probably way bigger than you think.
Okay.
So yeah, we talked about 2003, and that was nostalgic for me. But obviously, the whole original point. I'm going to introduce a segment for the record. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm introducing the segment.
See, Olivia.
I'm good. So obviously, the original part of this podcast was, we're both wrestling fans, we're both smarky, but you're proper smark, you're the big smark, I'm the small smark, and I've got gaps in my knowledge. Now, from the conversations we've had, and anyone's watching the podcast, it doesn't seem like I have a lot of gaps in my knowledge anymore. I've been watching.
I've got Rain Man.
Yeah, I've got access to the network. I've infinite knowledge. But there's still a huge gap, and I realised it recently. Now, I'm gonna give you a chance to guess. You're open to guess at any point from now, right? So I realised that there's a lot of eras, and there's a lot of ways of defining eras, be it by storylines or certain character moments, or just you could be the lazy thing in every decade. But there was an era that I realised I've dipped in to see moments of, but haven't really sat through, and I still have huge gaps in my knowledge about it. And I would say it's an era that I introduced this to you the other day. I was like, I'd say it pretty much just ended by technicality. Now, if I was technically, I'd say its era has ended because we don't call it anymore. Now, if I was going to talk about certain things like, as soon as I say this word, unification.
Are you talking about
say it.
No, go on. There's too many unifications right now.
Well, when there's unification, something it's usually a good way of basically getting rid of something.
Yeah, you're merging.
You merge things and then something goes quiet. Like,
It's not a universal title.
it is the universal title.
Okay.
Because I realised I know about the universal title. I know who the inaugural champion was. Obviously, I know who the last champion technically was now. Although that's a bit of a, is it Roman or is it Cody? Because they do this.
It's Cody.
They do this every time. I noticed this when I was speedrunning back before when we unified the original World Heavyweight title. Is it title? Yeah, not championship. The title, the one that was the WCW one, the one Triple H basically owned, and the WWE Championship, and Randy Orton was the inaugural of that. We called him the World Heavyweight
WWE
World Heavyweight Champ. And then as soon as he dropped to someone else, they became the WWE Champion.
Yeah.
It was like the World Heavyweight part just disappeared. And notice since Cody's won, it's now just the undisputed WWE Championship. They dropped the Universal.
Which I don't like as a name because it is disputed because you have the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, it is disputed because it's the World Heavyweight Championship.
As it stands right now, the World Heavyweight Championship is probably a little bit more... I respect it a little bit more than the WWE Undisputed Championship.
It always used to bother me as well because I was like, they always used to try and make a distinction between the World Heavyweight. I'm just going on a bit of a tangent. Like, oh, it's the World Heavyweight Championship. I was like but I remember there was a time where someone referred to the WWE champion as the World Heavyweight Champion of the WWE, and I was like, but that doesn't make sense because it's like because what you're trying to do is imply that the World Heavyweight Champion, you don't use the WWE, but they are still technically within the umbrella of the company, the WWE's World Heavyweight Champion.
It worked with the old big gold belt, though, because it had history from beyond WWE.
Yeah.
But this one doesn't really, unless it's taken on that. You know what it makes me think of? That whole sort of, is it the World Heavyweight Championship? Is it the World WWE Champion? Have you ever seen Life of Brian?
Yeah, of course.
We're not the bloody Judean People's Front. We're the People's Front of Judea. I'm not WWE champion. I'm WWE World Champion.
But like my point being, I don't really like that. I would say the run and existence of the Universal Championship is my gap now.
Right.
So I will say the only champion I would say I've witnessed other than Roman and Cody since I've been watching on the network and stuff. The only person I've really seen as champion is Kevin Owens.
Okay. Yeah.
Literally the only person I saw. Obviously, like I said, I know Finn Balor was the first.
The Jericho Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
That was so good.
That was funny. Yeah, I watched that. I watched I watched him betray Jericho.
I can't believe that was 7 years ago.
It was
8. Oh, coming up on 8. Kevin Owens has been on the main roster for 9 years. Coming up on 10. That is insane.
I feel like you're going to ruin it by like, there's not a lot to say about the Universal Championship.
No. I'm not going to be cynical, but I am going to be kind to it. I'm going to start out by saying I was watching an episode of Raw yesterday, and there was this really awful, clunky Shawn Michaels promo, and one of the clunkiest parts of it was then people of the world of wrestling WWE fans. And immediately there, you can kind of imagine that actually, we do kind of need a fan base name for WWE. And I don't like WWE Universe as a name.
Yeah, it annoys me. It feels over the top. It feels like some lame thing a corporate person came up with. Like
WWE Universe.
You see, it's so big and it encompasses everyone. Like, no. I don't know. I'd rather be like the WrestleManiacs. Like, I don't know. That's
fun.
That's way
we
more
can't have fun though. That's not corporate.
Also, I don't want to homage Hulk Hogan
no,
anymore. Like, fuck him.
It's also not been long enough that we can retcon him yet as well. So we could repurpose it, but we're not there yet. That's been going back as far as like 2010, 2009, by the way, like WWE Universe.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe it. But it makes sense that you'd bring in a term like that. And I think when you bring in the fact that the Universal, it makes sense. Calling it the Universal Championship, I think, made a lot of sense.
No, I didn't hate it. I remember, because I feel like the term WWE Universe was like, sort of, in the air when I was sort of on my way out from watching wrestling. So when I saw there was Universal Championship, I was like, yeah, that's cool. I see what they're doing there. I was confused, obviously being out of the loop, because I wasn't sure what happened to the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
I sort of... Which is silly, because I should have noticed the unification, but like, I just assumed they would reintroduce the World Heavyweight at some point. Like, in my mind,
they always do.
Yeah, I was like, they things get combined, but then they eventually bring one back, or we split them up again, or we do something along those lines. So yeah, it was always weird to me when I was like, oh, so in fact, when I was just coming back, so last year January, I actually thought there was a WWE Championship and then 2 different Universal Championship, and I'll tell you what threw me is because one belt was red, one was blue,
yeah.
and obviously the Women's Championship was the SmackDown and Raw's Women's Championship. So I thought, oh, is there a SmackDown and Raw Universal and then a WWE Champion? Like, what are we doing? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. It was weird.
When you say that, I feel like you're avoiding saying it was shit.
Yeah, because the fact that it swapped based on the current brand, surely that should have been an indication to them that don't just make it the same as the WWE title but with a coloured belt. It's so boring. When it got unveiled, it got booed. Big time. And rightly so.
The big W belts had to go. Like, I'm sorry, they all suck.
Yeah. I can't believe we still have one. I like to believe that I think give it till next Mania, I think we'll have a new belt.
Yeah. The big W belts have got to go. Someone put up a graphic the other day, actually, of all the Raw, like, graphics. Like, what the Raw changes have gone through. I was like, you could tell society, the whole world went through a minimalist stage.
Yeah.
And I thought about it when I was looking, I was like, this is what influenced the belts. Because we went through a massive minimalist stage where the Raw title was literally just block red letters Raw. Nothing else, no underlining, not all touching, just Raw. Yeah. And I was like, that's when they fucking made the W belts. Just a big bejeweled W. Fucking lazy fucks, man. Like, minimalism isn't a cool style. It literally is someone's way of tricking you into paying them for doing fuck all work in graphic design, for the record. Just saying. Anyway.
That was real to you, wasn't it? That meant a lot.
Minimalism is bullshit, bro. It's laziness
it is.
in art form.
It's like you look at the evolution of like the Firefox logo, and you just think to yourself, fuck.
Someone's been paying increasingly more to do less graphic designing.
How do you make something look less fun? Like, it takes a lot of money to do that, because it is a hard job to drain all the life from something. But speaking of draining all the life out of something, that first Universal title match, that probably did really fuck the belt up. To have Finn Balor, who fully deserved that belt.
The fan favourite. Yeah. We had a fan favourite, and he won, and then he got
injured in the match.
Yeah, that's bullshit. It's sad. And even sadder is he hasn't had the belt since, has he?
No. He almost did. Do you know the story of when Finn Balor placed Roman Reigns as the Demon? I think it was the Demon's first loss.
I've seen it. I've seen.
Do you know how
clips.
the match ends?
Shenanigans? Like, it's a Roman Reigns match.
Supernatural shenanigans.
Oh, God. Wait, supernatural shenanigans and Roman wins?
Yeah. Basically,
I feel like
you
I
get to
might
the
have
end of the
seen
match. Roman's knocked out in the ring. Balor's knocked out outside the ring. All of a sudden, the lights go down. We'll hear like a heartbeat, and the lights start flashing. And then Michael calls it, it's the heart of the demon. And then Finn Balor is outside the ring and then he just gets this second wind, and it's so embarrassing. It looks ridiculous. And he climbs up to the top rope. And if he wins now, you think, oh, that's lame, but okay. The top turnbuckle breaks.
Yes, I have seen it.
And he loses.
Because to this day, I'm like, was that planned?
Oh, it had to be.
But at the same time, like, that's so shit. The turnbuckle broke, and he, died of turnbuckle breakage? Like,
yeah. The Demon's first loss. It feels like they'd written themselves into a hard place where, like, how do we make the Demon lose without ruining him? And in the process, they've come up with the worst way of him losing, which is just taking a tumble. tripped.
So when was it introduced? What, 2018? The Universe title?
2016, I think.
No, it would have been
'Cause,
16. I watched.
When you saw Kevin Owens with the belt, right?
That was
the Universal title, wasn't
17, yeah.
Yeah.
That was late 17. I
So
think. Or maybe
no,
it was early.
that was 2016.
No, it would have been 2016. Yeah.
So
How
Kevin
did I miss
Owens
it,
would have
though?
been. He would have been the second or third champion.
So
Then
who
he
won
lost
it after Finn? I'm not asking you to run through the whole fucking lineage of the title, but like obviously Finn won it, but never actually got to hold it. So
It might have been Kevin Owens.
Was it like a tournament? I imagine they
Yeah,
did a
there was a
tournament.
ladder match, and there's a really cool segment on. You know how you have a really cool segment, and then there's a weird backdrop to it. It was a really good interview where they all had their opinions and they were spatting their shit and doing their bits, but they were all sat on top of ladders.
Oh, I think I've seen this as well. I think
Yeah, fucking real smart.
I watched so many retrospectives.
It worked. It was fun. We remember it, so it did something.
We
right?
remember it. We remember where we were when Vince made them do that.
I remember. I don't remember berries. So I do want to say it was probably Kevin Owens who won it second. Then he lost it to Bill. Then
No, Bill. Isn't Bill got the most wins of it at this point?
yeah, he beat all the people no one wanted him to beat. He beat Kevin.
We got to get our money's worth with Bill Goldberg, okay?
Oh, yeah.
We need our money's worth, which is pretty much just giving him the title whenever he shows up.
One of the most useless, annoying, over-the-hill wrestlers of all time, Bill Goldberg.
I've got such a
Sorry.
I've got such a weird respect for Goldberg, and I'll make this quick, right? I feel like Goldberg is up there, and some people might fucking freak out when I see something like this, but I was like, Goldberg's legend is up there with the Undertaker's in terms
I respect that.
in terms of like in his prime, like bro, he was someone that like it's almost like as a child, your fantasy fucking booking, and someone's like, oh, we're gonna make this amazing match, and someone's like, Goldberg. As soon as someone says Goldberg's winning that match.
Yeah, you go, oh.
You know, someone's like, back in the day, if someone was like, oh, who's gonna be Undertaker's streak? Fantasy booker would say Goldberg.
Yeah,
and people would be like,
be Goldberg.
oh yeah, Goldberg would have to beat the streak because he's undefeated. It's like whereas Undertaker's got an undefeated WrestleMania streak, Goldberg's an undefeated wrestler. He just doesn't lose.
Yeah.
And it's like Goldberg, in terms of his legend, amazing. But I think with Goldberg, I think it's an issue with gimmick at the end of the day. He couldn't be undefeated forever.
No, he couldn't.
And they did find a cool way to reinvigorate that, which was like, you just had the guy who ended the fucking streak in Brock Lesnar lose in 2 minutes to Goldberg.
Yeah, that was great.
Brilliant storytelling. Brilliant, because it was literally like, it's almost like the ultimate challenge in wrestling. You just had someone overcome the guy who was unstoppable. And then someone comes in who beats the unstoppable person. It's like, eventually that's got to stop, right? Like, Brock Lesnar seemed like the perfect. It's like, how do we top Brock Lesnar ending the streak? Oh, Goldberg comes in and fucking wrecks it.
I watched that live. I was sat there like with my hands on my head the whole time, and it was great.
Absolutely great.
It made up for their WrestleMania 20 match, and so did their match the next year. That 5-minute blast of sheer really.
I watched it. I watched that about a month ago. I really enjoyed it.
It's one of those matches who, you know, when you got people who want to get into wrestling, they have a really short attention span and impress me. I'll show them that now. Yeah, that's fun. That's good. I like that. But why didn't he learn to wrestle?
Because he was a strong guy. He didn't need to know anything more than suplexing a few, you know. He basically, for me, I look at it a certain way. Certain wrestlers, you could tell what school of wrestling they decided to like put all their XP into. And some people like to be all-rounders. Some people like to do 2 or 3. Goldberg was like power moves.
Yeah. Failed
my
ex-American footballer.
Put all my XP into power moves. Like, do you not want to learn, like, you know, you'll need some grappling. Power moves.
Yeah.
All power moves.
Mate, you might want to put some points into your
you have
kicks.
0 striking. Power moves.
Bret Hart's there begging, please, just a couple of points in super kick.
He's like, bro, we can't do a match if you can't like do basic strikers. Power moves. He's like, all right, but we can do it. I can do a kick. I'm Goldberg.
Is that Dudley Dursley?
Oh, I do. I have such respect for Goldberg as well. Like, when some people really want to shit on him, I'm like, I get the hatred of current Goldberg. Which even still, I'm like, not really, because the man's been wrestling since like 1993. So, like, what are we saying?
No. His WCW run started like 96.
Okay, fair. No, he was a football player in 93 then, wasn't he?
Yeah, he must have been. So that
but he's been about. He's been around
96,
for a long time.
No, it would have been 97 because Starrcade 97 was Sting versus Hogan. So it must have been 97. So it was a 2-year run, really.
Yeah.
Goldberg.
Yeah, he's late.
His WWE run was bang on a year. His run in that Universal era would have been longer than that WCW run. That is the real Goldberg.
A part-timer.
There was also that time where he brought his son into the ring who took his top off and had a real short back and sides and everyone started photoshopping him into unmasked gear.
No. Oh, poor bastard. So, just to bring it back to the Universal title, what about the latter half? So, I know roughly it ends with Brock Lesnar winning it.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you go back to your sort of, is it the last person to hold it or is it the person who wins it? It would have been Brock or Roman, Mania 38.
So, technically, Cody has never been a Universal Champion.
Technically, no.
Technically speaking.
For a brief moment, he may have been the WWE World Heavyweight.
No, he was. That's where it gets funny. He was announced as the new WWE. What's it? Undisputed Universal. Yeah.
Awful name.
But then, as soon as it was, I believe, by the time it's his first title defense, it's just the undisputed WWE champion.
Rightly so. Rightly so. Thank you, Papa H. You manipulative cunt. It all came to a head with the gimmick of Mania 38 was they had Brock versus Roman for the third time at Mania.
For the third time.
The first time it happened, people weren't interested because they weren't into Roman. The second time it happened, it was because they're not into Roman. Third time it happened, they were like, oh shit, Roman's a bad guy. Brock is actually probably the good guy in this. This will be good, and they'll throw each other around. And WWE was touting it as the biggest match in WWE history. And it was a 3-star classic.
I suppose classic with 3 stars, yeah. I feel bad because, like, I weirdly avoided every Brock and Roman match.
Even 31.
I didn't watch it. I got all the way to lead up. I need to watch 31. Do you know what's really annoying?
31's so good.
The problem with WrestleManias is I keep speed running wrestling, right? Yeah. And every now and again there'll be an event I don't mind skipping. I'll happily just be like, you know what? I'll watch the next episode of Raw, SmackDown. I'll have that little 1 minute speed run of what happened at the event.
Yeah.
And that's enough for me because I'm just trying to follow the story and like the notes. And but what I keep doing weirdly is every time it gets to certain WrestleManias, because of that, I'm like, I can't be fucked, man. I don't have 3 hours to blast through a WrestleMania. Like,
when you get into the 2010s, that turns into Mania 35 was 8 hours.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Like, I watched 2003. Raw was an hour and 45 minutes. It's a golden age. I can watch.
You want golden age?
It was multiple. I could watch 3 episodes in like 3 hours.
You can watch like 6 episodes a work day.
Because what I do is I skip the intro because that's usually just Triple H. I strip
Reign of Terror.
I skip the sexism because, you know, sexism.
You got 5 minutes of the show left. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. Skip the first 5 minutes, and the first match. That's usually shit. I can't lie, I really need to pee, and I'm holding it back.
I'm the same.
I'm going to run. I think we've got 20 minutes. We can come back. We've got this.
I'm going to go on a tangent for the folks at home. I've actually been on a little bit of a WCW Nitro tangent here. So I want to say I watched from the first episode. I'm coming up to the end of the first year, which I believe was 95. So it was kind of weird to me seeing that WWE had a 2-year lead on the Monday night show, but Nitro was doing it live. And that 40-minute show, don't get me wrong, there's some shit in there. And it's a lot of it, obviously, because it's gone. It doesn't feel important. It doesn't feel relevant. But it's so, like, concise and nifty. It feels like what I see is, like... I don't want to say it's a good advert for the pay-per-view, but it does feel like an actual build to something. You know, I'm not watching like matches I don't give a shit about with storylines that aren't going to go anywhere. You can tell that I've been burned by the Vince era. But at the same time, I think there was a while when they struggled to get into their stride. And it made me realise that even with... He's got a sandwich, that cunt. Even with that really concise 1 hour time slot on TV, no, in America, it could have been a longer time slot. They still struggled to have any idea of what to do to fill their time. So there is an art form to the Monday night TV show.
I'm sorry, I have no idea. I was waiting for you to say something that would clue me into what you're talking about.
I mean, the Monday night TV show, it's an hour long. Any guesses as to what I've been watching on the network?
No clue.
I've been doing a binge of the first year of Nitro.
Oh, fucking hell.
And it's interesting, and it's so concise, and you could get through the entire year of it in about a week at work. But like, as nice as it is, and as much as it feels like you can build towards anything, they still at times had no idea how to fill that hour.
Yeah.
So
I always felt like some of the peak of like WCW really was just like, and I think is what worked for maybe ECW as well, was just like, unfortunately, it was a shock value. It's what, you know, it's what basically pushed the fucking Attitude Era as well. Like, I think all of them, there was a massive period in the 90s where I think all the wrestling promotions, and I think we've said this before, I think with the pressure of like trying to meet network and essentially just be popular, they all forgot how to do wrestling shows. I think they all really just lost track. It was just literally it was just competing. It was going for shock. It was going for like, you know, that sort of main event feel. You know, like Olivia was watching me watch 2003, and she's like, "There's so much fireworks and pyro."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh my god, yeah!" Like you weren't even trying to compete if your show didn't start with like a 3-minute long firework display. You know, every other wrestler had. But I was like, look at it now. Look at who has pyro and who doesn't. Like, how many people have pyro today? Cody?
Yeah, Cody.
It's literally the person I can think of right now is Cody who has pyro.
Yeah, and he has every right to have pyro.
There's no one else I can think of it. Like, and I think it's always funny to me because I look at it now. Watch 2003. I was like, there's some people that had pyro didn't need it. Like, remember how RVD had pyro for no reason?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, fucking A-Train had the fucking smoke bellowing out. You had, you know, Big Show had the same thing as RVD. Bang! The Dudley Boys had those two fucking like fireworks that come in, bang! Like, you know, like honestly, everyone. And then what was funny to me was like, you had all these mid-carders, and I'm not disrespecting mid-carders at all, but like, so it was like, now mid-carders don't get pyro.
No, it's a luxury to have pyro.
But the mid-carders have pyro, and then in comparison, you'd have some people that didn't need it, like Stone Cold didn't need pyro, The Rock didn't need pyro, Triple H didn't need pyro.
But that's down to gimmicks, and you got a really good example of how a gimmick can change that, is Batista. So, obviously, Batista, he comes out. I always remember as a kid, I was never a big fan of Batista, but he was so, like, I love Batista. I have a real soft spot for him. But when he did the... I remember whenever I'd go bowling as a kid, and the shot looks like it's going to go awry, I just started doing that.
The Gatlin thing was cool. It was very cool.
But then, also, when he turned heel in 2009... and he said, "You were supposed to be my friend." his gimmick became that actually, no, John Cena's a fraud. All these big guys are frauds. I'm here for the money, and I know they are too. So give me the spotlight. He took the pyro away, and it was so devious and evil. He took what we loved away. It was the same thing with like. It's a very different thing, but it was when Neville went heel, and he's like, no, I'm not doing any. No, that's probably. I'm not doing any more flippy moves, man.
I'm not doing any more flippy moves, man.
He could be from Newcastle. Could be Rasta. Who knows? I don't know how we got onto Pyro.
Well, no, I'm just saying about 2003, like about the presentation difference as a show was so crazy. Like it was literally like, welcome to Raw. No, it's just none of that. It's like welcome to Raw. Hey, woo, hello everyone. Like
the corporation would love to welcome you to Monday Night Raw.
I feel like honestly it might be one of the better changes thanks to lockdown, because I don't know if it was COVID that changed that. Like, because I imagine they didn't need to do that when it was an empty arena. Who the fuck is the pyro for? The 3 people in production that are on site.
No, the pyro went out in like 2010.
Yeah, no, I imagine, because the rough around that era I sort of stopped. But I was like, it's weird going back. Like, you know, like it always made me. I don't know. It maybe made Kane more cool and less cool at times, because obviously there was a period where like Kane's pyro was very unique and very like poignant. You were like, you know, you could imagine if you're in the arena, a match just ended, you're waiting for the next match, bang, fire, shit, Kane's coming.
Unique and poignant.
You're like, oh god, it's a Kane match, cool. But then like, imagine that amongst
Have
like...
you ever seen that pyro in real life?
No.
It's fucking terrifying.
I would love to see that pyro in real life.
Just go to one of his rallies in the next election.
I've got to go all the way to Notts County. I can't lie.
Right?
Just on a little side note, I do follow funny Kane memes. Oh man, if you were still on Instagram, you fucking new age person, you'd see all the funny fucking hilarious content I'd send that related to Kane, because I'm a self-aware Kane fan, okay? I know that it's embarrassing that my favourite wrestler is a fucking conservative right-wing ass fucking politician, even though, you know, I've watched him choke a woman on TV
Yeah.
and be accused of raping a dead body. This is all hilarious stuff to me. Only America could produce this sort of entertainment.
He fell on his wife, who he won in a wrestling match, and killed her baby. Vote for me for mayor of Knox County.
Have you seen? I don't know. I think you must have left Instagram before. The picture of him and Linda McMahon.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Someone's
I
put
remember that.
comparison. It's a picture from like this year or last year of them at like one of his fucking right wing rallies, and they're like, and it's literally like picture of them like shaking hands and smiling, and then the picture above it is him with his hand, him topless, bald, with his hand around her neck. It's like it's so good that they can reconnect.
We're friends now.
20 years later.
It was a misunderstanding. I would have loved if she went out onto the stage, but because she's gone old and senile, she's just like, she thinks it's kayfabe. Like, she's just like, I would vote for him as mayor. Look how far he's come. He had burns. He was in pain. His brother is the Undertaker.
I think what's more embarrassing for me, or even like, I think more horrible to have to fathom, is, you know how I'm getting controversial. You know how there's people that worryingly support certain political parties, or even just certain things that you know are just misguided, like people whose heads are not in the right place.
Yeah, people who might need to take a moment and just maybe reform their political opinions, right?
Or just their brains in general.
Yeah.
It worries me that there are just potentially tens of thousands of people following this man because he's Kane. Like, that's the scary part. Like, I'm ironically like, I love him. I would support him as a fucking political person. I'm only joking. I would do the research. I would make sure, but it worries me that there's just so many fucking dumbass like, Kane is a political figure. He's my favorite wrestler. Like, oh man.
Remember when you right your hand and go boom?
And that's
it's
why
even worse because the Conservatives out there, their colour's red. So to them, that is the big red machine.
It's the big red machine. No, I've seen so many fucking cheesy things. I'm like, bro, I swear you can act better than this. There's one where this guy, he's doing a speech. This guy comes to like run some tech to him, and he does something wrong, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And then he's like, "You know who I am, right?" And then I'm almost tempted to do this real time, but we don't have enough time for it. But he very slowly and awkwardly. This guy is just to be a tech running something to him whilst he's on the podium. And he's like, "You know who I am, right?" It's like, "Oh, you don't know?" And he then very slowly and awkwardly forces on one of the many different Kane masks with a very shit hair, and then does the worst choke slam to this guy. Does the fucking, and then just pulls the mask off, and he's like, "Vote for me." It's fucking. I want to die watching it. It's so fucking bad.
That works for kayfabe though, because that really gives credence to the fact that corporate Kane and Demon Kane are two different people.
Where he tries to blend the two in real life now. Yeah. That's horrible. That's my favorite wrestler. I'm almost like, I think in the next 5 years I might have to let Glenn Jacobs go, and pick a new favorite. It's not even the policies. It's just the fucking uncle/dad energy promos he's doing as part of his political campaign. I can't.
You don't like when he goes to like a diner or something. I mean, he just like makes Kane puns while he eats their sausage sandwich.
No, it makes me want to die. And wrestling's not cool anyway. But whatever.
Through hellfire and brimstone, I like my steak well done at Knox County Diner. I fucking hate women who get abortions.
It's fucking crazy. I feel like we officially covered everything. We haven't done the defense of the belt, which I don't mind.
Oh, did you come up with something?
I didn't, which was part of the issue. So
we're gonna have to fight in the next 8 minutes.
No, I think what would be great is what I might do is like just cut a promo.
Okay.
Although we do have another issue. Oh, look, this isn't the promo yet. Olivia wants this belt so fucking bad.
I mean, I have fucked up and I've lost one of the Velcros.
It's fine.
So,
at some point, I'm thinking maybe we
just doesn't stop being sticky.
We risk it and we start a GoFundMe so we can have a better belt to contend for.
Gary, you better have money, mate, because we're
Gary,
banking
you're
on you,
our only
man.
fan. Not only fan, but you're our only supporter.
If it gets us money, we will do OnlyFan. But
well, people remember the picture from episode 3 of me. If you like what you saw, I'll let me know and I'll start an OnlyFans.
The Shawn Michaels boxes.
No, it's just me and you. This man has not watched a single episode of this season.
I watched the first one.
He hasn't watched shit. He doesn't even know about all the incriminating things he said.
Genuinely, I do not know how this is still going.
It's fine.
That
we
might
get
be
random
why I don't
views.
watch.
I'm hoping it's going to be like my music collective, and after 5 years, we'll start getting a lot of random Indian fans on Facebook.
On the boys.
Maybe. I don't know. I have accepted that we need to take TikTok a lot harder than I have. I say we, but it's me.
Yep, fuck social media, even though it's what's going to get us.
It's what's going to pay the bills. We're looking for collabs. Anyone who likes our faces, thinks we could sneak their products. Brothers, this 7% cider is excellent. I'm just gonna say it. It's doing the job. It's doing the fucking job. So if you guys want to support us, I know you're English, or maybe yes. Brothers is English. I knew this all along. They're from Somerset, but I'm from Bournemouth. That's close enough. I'm just trying to fill the space now, get my money's worth.
Yeah, I know. It's weird, isn't it? Like, we're not used to actually putting a nice bow on things at the end.
We can do some honourable shout-outs to things, moments and things. I'll tell you what, who do you think, back on the Universal Champion, who do you think was the best Universal Champion?
Oh, Finn Balor.
Was he even the champion?
Yeah, but he had it for about 12 hours, and I hate that belt.
So I asked the wrong person.
Yeah. Best champion.
I'm sure
it was Roman Reigns.
I was going to say, is
It's
the right
Roman.
answer only Roman Reigns? How many? Okay, let's test. Quick test. How many people held the Universal Championship?
Oh. Unique people or runs?
What? No, how many?
Unique people or how
Oh
many
yeah, no,
reigns?
unique people. Yeah.
9.
Okay. Should be able to get a quick answer for this.
I mean, 9 people over a 6-year run. When you consider Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar held it for most of it. Kofi had the real belt. Big E had the real belt. Bobby had the real belt.
I think the answer's 8.
Oh, motherfucker!
I was looking, I was like, right, Finn Balor vacated. So Finn, this counter, Finn, Kevin Owens, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. Then back to Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins. So that's 6. Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, 7. Goldberg, Braun Strowman, 8. Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. So they are counting Rhodes. So Cody would be the 9th. That is 9.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I have not.
you're reigning, defending.
Undisputed. This is where Samantha Irvin would start crying. By the way.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Cody.
I don't know why people throw so much shade. I thought that was an awesome moment.
It was.
Fair play to her for actually being so fucking involved in the moment, but also a fan. Like, she knew Cody was winning. She has the script. You see her sat there with a folder that is the script. She knew how this was ending.
Or maybe she just knew Ricochet was getting released. And on that note, everyone,
I'm Zach. My name is Zachary Nyankundi. I am the smallest Mark.
I'm Steven, and I am the ever shrinking Smark, and your Smark's Universal Champion.
I will say this. I'm gonna interject with this man's modesty.
You can't interject on the outro.
I can, because you say you're shrinking smart, but like, this man, pretty much the main thing he follows is an independent thing in London, and he still seemingly knows just a stupid amount compared to me. It's insane. Like, he doesn't even watch wrestling anymore. I'm keeping up with everything, and he still knows more than me. And it's been a year. I say, give me a year, and we can finally contend. I feel like next year, 2025, we will have the Smark for Smark Championship. Like, who is the ultimate Smark? But for now, no. My knowledge just pales in comparison. But
kids, don't have sex during your formulative years. Just go online.
It's funny because sex is pretty much why I stopped watching wrestling as a teenager.
So I'm gonna raise the belt. Yeah.
All right, motherfuckers. Good night.
Peace.